Hey, what's up everybody? It is Chris, and today, fair warning, I want to talk about something a little different, similar in nature to the things that we talk about, but a little off topic. So, I apologize that it's not strictly about stacking, but this is something that's actually pretty interesting to me, like in general, and I really wanted to talk about it. So here goes. So I'm sure we've all seen the Gabby Petito case with Brian Laundrie, her boyfriend, and everything that's going on there. At first, it was a disappearance, quote unquote. She disappeared after she went on a cross-country camping trip with her boyfriend slash fiance. And they had a social media following. They had their own Instagram channel or Instagram and YouTube channel detailing their cross-country trip, which there's a million of these people out there, right? And it's good fun. There's so many different people out there, lots of personalities, lots of different things that you can see. And this case, so I can see already some of the eyes rolling, oh, why is everybody talking about this? Totally get it, totally understand, especially since in the stacking community and the prepping community, there's a lot of there's a general sometimes disgust with the media in general. Totally get it. Hey, these media companies, they need to hype things to make money. This is one case out of thousands that happen every year. Why the big hype, etc., etc.? Totally get it, but it is what it is. I mean, it's already spilled milk. It's already out there. Everyone kind of knows something about it. Everybody's heard about it. And there's so many things that are very interesting about this, which is why I wanted to talk about it. And it actually is pertinent to what we talk about here and a lot of the channels that we all watch talk about. So the angle that I wanted to discuss today is actually Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. So apparently they were big into obviously kind of being off the grid. So apparently, he spent a lot of time out in the woods by himself, apparently, camping by himself, traveling through the woods by himself. And he must know something about it. He must be, my understanding is you got to be pretty comfortable to be able to survive out there by yourself for a period of time. My understanding is that he spent a month or 2 months by himself in the Appalachian Mountains. Pretty, that's not something everyone's gonna do. I'm not any type of survivalist myself, so I wouldn't know exactly what that entails. But a lot of you that are, not only preppers, but also very outdoorsmen or, active in the outdoors, I'm sure you are very familiar with what that would entail. And it's very interesting to me that, no matter what you're doing, someone's always watching. And I think that's one of the things that's very interesting to me about this whole case. The fact that, there's so many people videotaping what they're doing, their adventures, their camping trip, whatever. The fact that they were able to not only get pictures and video of, the vehicle that these kids were traveling in, that white little truck thingy, little van, and be able to recall that, yeah, I did see that van. But I don't know if you saw the footage of the RV going down, one of the roads over there in Wyoming, campgrounds, and they see the little white van that Gabby and Brian were in. They said that they didn't see anybody there, and that they didn't, they just passed by it. But on recalling that they were in the area, they reviewed their footage and they did see the van. So that's a pretty popular video that's out there. But I was actually watching a different video that really analyzed the video, really, this guy was some type of graphic artist, and he knew how to really take a look at the footage. If you look at that footage, when they're driving down the road in the RV, the back of the van has double doors that open outward. They're actually open. You can see that there's you can see the black in between the doors as they're coming down the road, and then you can see the door close as they get closer. So the people in the RV, when they got interviewed, they said, we didn't see anybody in there. We didn't, it looked like, just someone had parked their car there and gone hiking or whatever. But when you look at the footage, like I said, enhanced, and you can see that, no, there was somebody in there. Somebody closed the door. Not only that, but you could see that someone's sandals are sitting right outside. And I think they said that, like, this graphic artist dude totally, like, analyzed this video. You can see that like someone's sandals sitting there, and they're saying, like, yeah, those are Gabby's sandals. But it's insane. And, like, this just, like, reinforces to me, like, wow, like, you're in the middle of, you're camping at, yes, the Grand Tetons and the Yellowstone. I mean, obviously there are millions of people who visit there constantly, but the fact that people were, people got so much footage and so many interactions with two random ass people, that's crazy. That's crazy. There are stories of, hey, Brian and Gabby were arguing in the restaurant. People remember that. Obviously the whole police thing, that's a whole other thing, the whole police thing. So again, not political. There's so much out there with police. Police have a job to do. It's a tough job. They know that it's a tough job, and we got to respect what they do at the end of the day. There's good, just like anybody else. There's good, there's bad. It's a tough job. It is what it is. But the reason I mention it is that, some people are saying that, after they got reported, Gabby and Brian got reported because Brian was apparently hitting her on the side of the road, and people, drove by and wanted to kind of stop it. Of course, like, you see somebody getting beaten, like, you're going to want to do something about it, right? And, like, apparently, Brian and Gabby drove away, whatever, but those people called the cops, and the cops ended up finding them and, pulling them over and then, assessing the situation. Sorry for the background. But one of the things that's kind of being, like, picked apart is, like, obviously this was, like, some type of domestic dispute, and the law there in Utah says, that it's kind of, like, not ambiguous. If there's any, physical altercation, like, somebody's supposed to get, like, arrested. You know what I mean? Somebody's supposed to get taken in, because that's just the way it works. But apparently, the cops and their people, like, if especially, like, the funny part about that is, like, as a male, and again, it may be a little bit sexist, but, obviously, as a guy, you're going to ask the girl what happened. You know what I mean? And, like, you would think that you're going to get a sense of whether she's trying to cover for the guy or, blame the guy. And the guy's automatically going to be under suspicion. But the thing is, too, that, the 911 person who reported it did tell them, hey, he was hitting her. Obviously, I'm not saying anyone's blameless. Like, there's two sides of the story. But I mean, as a guy, let's say you're a guy in that situation, that the cops come, they're looking at you. You know what I mean? They're not looking at the girl like you were, but we know that, domestic violence happens on both sides. It's not one party. So I'm not saying that. But, like, as a guy, that the cops are looking at you like, hey, what the hell? What are you doing hitting a girl? But the crazy part is, like, looking back, everyone's like, well, why didn't the cops arrest him? Why didn't the cops take him in? Why didn't they take her in? Because the way that the story played out, when we saw the body cam footage, is that she was actually hitting him. And, he played it off as, it's so crazy because, like, it literally is something out of, like, a made-for-TV movie. Like, you couldn't have scripted it any better than what it is. It's crazy. He's sitting there saying, like, hey, she was hitting me, but don't worry about it. Like, I don't want anything to happen to her. Like, it was both of us, blah, 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 blah. And she was saying the same thing. I antagonized him, and, I don't want anything to happen to him. And so, like, as the cops, of course, like, yes, there's the letter of the law, but also, again, they're people, they're not going to want to just, charge somebody and go through all the drama. They also want to be people and help people, and they understand that, they see these kind of things, but, it's crazy that one decision could have changed everything. But you can't go back in hindsight and just criticize that they should have arrested him, that, you know, this is on them too. No, it's not. I mean, again, like, there were multiple cops there. Any one of them could have said, you know what, we got to take him in. For whatever reason, at the end of the day, they decided, hey, you know what, we're going to just separate them, and, you know, this will be a learning lesson, a life lesson for them. It didn't end up being that way. But it's so crazy because this guy, Brian, you know, the big part for me, like, we don't know the story. We don't know anything. Everything at this point is speculation about what happened. We don't know what the autopsy is, although they did say it you know, it is a homicide, so that's pretty damning. But on top of that, the thing that didn't make sense from the beginning was, like, the guy's parents, you know, he comes home with her car and she's not there, and they go camping together, you know, like, where's Gabby? And then on top of that, like, you know, the cops come to ask him, you know, about Gabby, and, you know, the parents are like, no, you can't talk to him. What? It's insane. And, like, the thing that I was getting to is that now this guy is somewhere. He's obviously somewhere, you know, hiding out, camping somewhere. Supposedly they got him on that trail cam. Who knows who that is? I mean, he's kind of like a total beta male that, you know, like, he looks like anybody. Like, so who knows whether that was him or not. But the thing is, like, how long can a guy like this really be off the grid? Be somewhere where no one's going to see him, no one's going to find him? Especially when, again, you think about it, and, like, they were just camping in the middle of, you know, Wyoming, and all these people remember interacting with him and seeing him and him and her, and, like, having them on video and in pictures. And it's crazy, the fact that, you know, like, you, even when you think you're off the grid and you're in the middle of nowhere, you're not. People are watching, people are paying attention to what you're doing. People remember the dumbest little things about, oh my God, you know, you guys were loud, or whatever, you know what I mean? But my big question is, like, this guy can obviously be anywhere, and he could be in the middle of a city, he could be in New York, he could be still in that park, although I doubt that, because they apparently, you know, I'm sure the FBI used, like, every piece of technology available to find that dude. But, like, if he was really just missing, like his parents said, like, oh, we hope that the FBI finds him. Really? Your kid's missing, and you're just like, oh, well, I hope you guys find him? No. I mean, that's the only part where I'm like, okay, they know what happened. They know something. And, of course, they lawyered up as soon as, like, he came home. So, like, this is, like, so crazy to me that, like, yes, I don't like the fact that, you know, there are thousands of people that disappear every year. It's very sad. And I don't like the fact that one gets singled out. But in all truth, like, this one is something different. This one is something where it's like, wow. Like, again, you couldn't have made this up for a movie. It's insane. And, like, I honestly don't think that they will catch him. I think, you know, if anything, he would take himself out, because he knows that sooner or later they are going to find him. And, like, I think if by chance he's not in the woods, he's somewhere where he can see the, you know, all of these people who have come forward and said, yeah, I interacted with this guy, I picked him up hitchhiking, I saw him in a restaurant, I did this. If he's seeing that, then you know that everyone is coming for you. You know that, like, it doesn't matter where you go, someone's gonna find you. If you're in the middle of nowhere, if he's in the Appalachian Mountains, camping by himself, hiding out, I would think, I don't know what to think. I haven't spent enough time in those areas to know whether it really is somewhere where no one would find you. But I would think that even though you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, there's still people there, and there's still people there who know that area better than you do. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Again, I know there's so much hype out there. I know people are watching it 24/7. And usually for me, it's more of a topical thing. But it is interesting to me that something like this, you know, plays out right before our eyes. And, like, again, we only have one side of the story. We have no idea. Like, we've all judged the guy before we know what happened. But on the same token, like, the evidence is pretty damning that why would you leave? Why would you flee? You know what I mean? Even if, let's say, you got in an argument and something happened and you know, something happened to her. your best defense is to just come out with the lawyer and say like, hey, this is what happened. It was, whatever. But the fact that you ran, I mean, how do you get around that? How do you get around that? And these days, like I said, the fact that everyone knows your face now, although he does kind of look like, if he puts a beanie on or a hat and just puts on like that guy could pass you anywhere and you wouldn't, recognize him. Although those eyebrows are pretty unique. But I don't know. It's crazy to me. And like a lot of you are like preppers or like outdoorsy people. And for me, like, yeah, I mean, I've gone camping, I've done all that, but I don't know anything about surviving in the outdoors, especially for extended periods. You know what I mean? How long can a person like be out on their own like that? How long can be without other people knowing you or seeing you? You know what I mean? Like, and paying attention to you. Because as you saw, they thought they were alone in the middle of nowhere, but they weren't. Everyone was watching, whether consciously or unconsciously. Anyway, if you get a chance, go check out that, go find that video with the van or the RV, drives by it and it looks like it's abandoned. If you find that hyped up or the enhanced video, the back door was open and they closed it as the RV was approaching. So someone was in there. Pretty crazy. All these videos are crazy. This internet detective stuff is just insane. That is the real Big Brother. Everybody's watching you. Everybody knows what you're doing. It's insane. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to my off-topic rant, and I hope you have a good one.